All right, hey guys, this is another piece of news that I thought might interest Shawnee. It's not bad. It's pretty good, I guess. You know. So, um, basically, let me do my spiel again. How you guys doing? It's DJ from the Culture War. I'm back at it again. Um, like, comment, subscribe, like my shit. Anyway, so the it turns out that the Deadpool has a manga. Um, in Japan. That's Japan only, basically. It's on the Shōnen Jump app, Shōnen Jump Plus, and apparently it is the most read series in that Marvel's put out so far, in recent history, I should say. Um, if you know anything about Marvel's current sales and Marvel's current predicament, they are not doing too hot in terms of sales, interest. Nobody really cares about Marvel, and I realized this when the comic book people in the comic shop, the employees and stuff, the comic shop we go to, we're like, we don't really know what's going on in Marvel. People know what's going on in DC, but DC's trying to ruin that. So, yeah. Well, I just found this interesting because this goes to speaking about how manga is outpacing and outclassing American comics at every turn point. And that's particularly, and I have said this quite a few times, I feel that it's because of the creativity and the dedication to the art form that the Japanese mangaka and comic book artists and so on and so forth that they have in versus the American comic book scene and their artists and their writers that they have. Also, the direction of the companies and what the strategy is moving forward for a lot of these companies. It is multiple reasons for that. And I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, what do you guys say? What do you think? Why do you think this is happening?
I mean, American comic books as they are right now are pretty shit when you really get down to it. Like, it's a lot of identity politics and stuff like that that's all over them. So I wouldn't be surprised if like they took Deadpool and dropped him in a manga without all the extra foolishness that it did well. I'm not surprised. Makes sense.
Art's good.
I mean, manga in itself is outselling American comic books right now. Yeah, the art is good, which you don't see in a lot of comic books currently, where you're seeing a lot of like kind of iffy art, which I think is so weird.
Great cover art.
You see
Terrible
great, yeah,
interior
great,
art.
yeah. That's the thing. It's like the cover art really draws you in because they don't hire the same person to do the cover art who does the inside art. So you see the cover and then you flip it open and you're like, ooh. And a lot of people, they flip it open while they're in the store, so they get to see it before they take it home and buy it. So, this art looks good. Looks really good. Not surprised.
Yeah. So, they got a couple people here who have a couple mangakas who have their own books and stuff out that they're doing it. I pronounced this correctly off video. Sanshiro. Kanshiru. Kazuma. That's not Kazuma. That's Kasama. I pronounced this. I'm telling you, I pronounced this correctly when I was sitting here before I went on camera. Hikiru Usagi.
It kind of sounds like Hikaru.
Usagi. It might be Hikaru.
Usagi.
I'm terrible. Anyway, Shōnen Jump Plus. They talk about Shōnen Jump Plus. It's digital only manga. This is digital only. You can only get it on Shōnen Jump Plus. Now, Shōnen Jump Plus is free. Because I did look it up. It is free. I believe they do have probably a paid version of it where it
like no ads or something like that.
Yeah, or you can look at the back catalog because there's a Shōnen Jump app that Shōnen Jump has out in the West, and it's essentially that's what it is. You pay $2, or you don't have to pay $2. You can read stuff for free, but you can't look at a lot of the back issues. So same thing it looks like, but it is free anyway. So it made serialization in December 10th, 2020, and these are the numbers for the issues in terms of reads. Now, how many of these did people completely go through it and finish it? I'm assuming everyone did, or a majority of them did. But you see this first. You don't see the first issue here, but the second issue is is over 1 million reads.
Wow. I mean, it seems to have hit like steadily, kind of like declined as the issues have gone on, and then a bit of a spike in issue 7. But I mean, that's right at that time when they took this screenshot. Yeah. So who knows what it looks like now?
That's true.
You know what I mean?
And there's probably more issues that have come out since then, because this is 2020, 2021, the last screenshot. And I think there's more up here. Oh, that one didn't come out yet. This one was February 18th. So there's all of March and stuff that isn't, they didn't get that particular screenshot. So I mean, if you look at the American comic scene and then the sales that they have, well, mind you, they don't put out sales numbers. They put out shipped numbers.
Yeah, copies shipped.
And then, orders.
Yeah.
They don't put out the actual like.
And then in order for a comic book store to even get the book in their store, they have to order a certain amount. Yeah. So they kind of force these stores.
And Marvel specifically likes to create a bunch of covers or a bunch of number ones, and then you go only get certain covers, or you go only get certain, variants if you order a certain amount of
so they'll
each
say
cover.
They'll say like a one store ordered like 3,000 books, when in reality you kind of tie the store's hand behind their backs when you're like, you have to have a minimum of 3,000 books a minimum order of 3,000 in order to get the book in store.
They were over shipping at one point. I think they still do overship, which was the other issue, because then they got to pay for it. So but you could see the difference if you look up comic book numbers and then just what's coming out in Star Wars specifically. The High Republic is like not doing anything. This isn't High Republic, but as an aside, because I've done videos on High Republic, they're dead in the water to the point where they've brought back they've published and issued out old Legends books, and specifically the Thrawn, the original Thrawn trilogy, and I think it was the first book out of the Thrawn trilogy, Heir to the Empire. They just put that out recently. So
I thought they said that everything in Legends wasn't canon anymore.
Yeah, it's not. But that's the whole thing. So your numbers are doing shit. So you need you're trying to do a quick cash grab where you put out something that people actually want. So what I would say, if you do see those books of Legends continuity, just try and get resales of old books, or just get older copies,
right, that
aren't published and put out by current Disney and Marvel. But yeah, so that's basically what I want to talk about. And yeah, so I've talked about basically what draws people to manga is there are different and interesting stories being told. You look at like Made in Abyss. I actually have a copy of that. You look at Promised Neverland and other stories that are coming out that are vastly different from just the American scene, where it's mainly just superheroes, and then superhero adjacent books.
Yeah,
like you don't really, or you get the weird like one-off graphic novel stuff that's like,
even with like a superhero based thing like My Hero Academia, like look at that, look at how interesting and diverse and vast that whole universe is, with all their heroes and the story itself. So
that's one aspect. It's easier to get into. All the stories are usually self-contained. There's really, you can get into weird things like the Fate verse, and like that Fate is a whole beast in and of itself in that universe. So but all of these things are self-contained. That's the good thing about manga. You pick volume 1 up and you go all the way to the end.
Whereas like American comics, you have like, say you want to get into detective comics or action comics right now. Detective Comics is like what, like 600, 700 issues in, or some crazy number?
Detective already passed its 1,000.
All right, see, there you go. And that's pretty.
It's really close. I think it passed its 1,000.
That's intimidating. That's pretty intimidating. And then there's manga that like you pick up a volume, and you start volume 1, and then you go from there. You know, it's the story, like you said, is very contained. Look at all, like when we were reading Justice League Dark, and I told you I was reading the I think it was like the Witching Hour event, and that event like spanned across like 3 other different comics, and it wasn't even a large event. Like it wasn't a big event by any means. It just was so hard to track down all of the comics pertaining to that one event because they're everywhere. They're all over the place. But then at least with manga, everything is contained in one place, and it's a lot easier to consume it, so you don't have to go running and chasing it down.
Also, that helps with continuity problems.
Yes, yeah.
You don't have to worry about this wide, expansive universe. I mean, even the ones that are more expansive in manga and, you know, anime and stuff, even those type of titles, it's far more structured. Because even like the Fate universe, which is all over the place, it's certain titles are specifically tied to that universe. So like the Fate Stay Night stuff, it has nothing to do with the Grand Order stuff. So it's all like segmented, and you really don't need to know too much about each particular series. I mean, if you're going into Fate, like you should know about the Fate Stay Night stuff, the main stuff, because that'll give you the background of how the universe and all that works. But you know, Grand Order and all that, you can assume that by itself and pretty much be all right. So that those are the issues, and those are the things that come along with manga that you don't get with American comics because of how the comic book industry has set itself up in the American comics. Right. And it's just not, you know, there's nothing new coming out. All your comic book artists, let me rephrase that. Some of the comic book artists and American comic book artists are fine. The writers, the editors, those are the people that are the problem.
Yeah.
The artists, they find some random Tumblr artists a lot of the time, but there are good artists peppered in there too. So it's not, at least with the artists, it's not a dearth of talent. They just choose to go cheap with that's the other thing. They choose to go cheap instead of actually paying people that can actually draw really good. So, you know, that's the issue that is with American comics, and I don't know how to necessarily fix it. I mean, the first thing is getting rid of all these mean girl types that are writing and editing and doing the creative stuff. Get them out of there, but they're not going to, because they've essentially taken over that industry. So
I think it's so funny they're mean girl types. I think that's really funny.
I mean, they act like mean girl types.
Yeah.
They act like, you know, you should just be happy with what they give you.
Yeah.
So, you know, it kind of sucks. But there's a pathway for American comics. They just continually choose not to take it. So, I mean, what are you going to say? Anyway, but that's it. I think I've dragged this out a little bit longer than I needed to. But, so yeah, we'll see you guys next time. I need to work on some individual stuff. I got a big video I'm working on and some scripts, and that'll come out shortly, hopefully in the next week or two. Those videos will come out and you guys will see that. But thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Bye.
See ya.